Greetings, my name is Cosmic. Today I have a list of over 20 mods that will transform Minecraft into a living and thriving fantasy RPG world. I chose to emphasize on fantasy this time around because the genre lends itself to creating a beautiful, mystical world filled with all kinds of life. The mods I have chosen will make exploring a fantasy world in Minecraft filled with endless adventure. If you are interested in something more grounded in history, stick around until the end of the video to find out what's coming in my next video. I handpicked this selection of mods aiming for a fresh new take on what a fantasy world could look like in Minecraft. I have tested all these mods together and they seem to work just fine, but occasionally world generation may be a little funky. Nonetheless, I'm excited to share what I have put together for you. All of these mods are for Forge 1.19.2, however, the majority of them are available for Fabric 2. Without further ado, let's get started. First on the list are two mods that replicate character creation in RPGs. Origins and Origins classes, two mods ported over from Fabric, add character creation to Minecraft. Origins adds 9 species based on existing Minecraft mobs to choose from that will give you new strengths and weaknesses. These include felines, avians, blazeborn, shulks, and more. Origins classes adds 14 professions that give you additional bonuses with no drawbacks. These include archer, cleric, farmer, lumberjack, miner, warrior, and more. There are 126 possible combinations with these two mods. You could be a feline beastmaster, a friend of the animals, or a blazeborn warrior that deals massive damage when you're on fire, or an Endarian miner, using your long arms and increased mining speed to mine with ease. Or even a shulk cook, using the increased nourishment from the food you prepare to negate your rapid exhaustion as a shulk. Or you could be a human nitwit and not be particularly good at anything. Next, we have a mod returning from my last RPG mods video. Village Spawn Point simply moves your world spawn point to a village. I like to think this mod gives your hero a hometown where they grew up before going out to adventure. Of course, this does mean you will have easy access to food, a bed, and some equipment to make the early game a little bit easier. Several more mods returning from my last mods video are random village names, areas, and villager names, all made by the same developer as the village spawn points. Villager names is pretty self-explanatory. It gives random names to all of the villagers in your world and makes them better distinguishable. Random village names gives each village random names as well, including the one you spawn in. Areas uses a sign to name an area with a specific radius so that when you're entering or exiting that zone, you will be notified with text at the top of your screen. How this works is by placing down a sign, typing areas in brackets, and then a number that says the radius of the area, followed by whatever name you want to give to that area. You can easily change the name just by breaking and replacing the sign. With random village names, villages will spawn with a sign that will notify you when you're entering or exiting a village. Or you can settle your own village. Each of these mods will help you tell apart all the villages and villagers from one another. If you want to enhance Minecraft's villages and give them a blend of modern and fantasy designs, try ChoiceTheorem's Overhauled village. This mod expands the sizes of the villages into practical towns and provides new structures using vanilla blocks that match their environment. For example, Plains villages will now have houses and buildings made with oak log frames, terracotta or quartz walls, and brick roofs. Farms can be found inside greenhouses, and you can even find a castle at the center of the village. Village Spawn Point will sometimes put your world spawn point in one of these villages. There are even new village variants including Dark Forest, Jungle, and Mountain. Dark Forest villages look sinister with their soul fire lanterns and hanging cages. Jungle villages are lifted up off the jungle floor by stilts and are accessed by bridges and stairwells. Mountain villages that spawn in a snowy environment have a beautiful Japanese aesthetic. I should also mention that snowy villages have Christmas decorations like giant candy canes and snowmen. The mod also adds a large variety of pillager outposts that match their environment too. Desert outposts have a pyramid-like structure at the center, while the taiga outposts are constructed like a large log cabin with a mess hall and barracks. Overall, the mod does an amazing job improving Minecraft's villages. But don't worry, you will still come across vanilla villages for an interesting blend of small villages and large towns. Waystones is a mod that adds the fast traveling mechanic found in many open world games to Minecraft. Personally, I don't care for fast traveling in most games because I think it's lazy and players miss out on exploring the world. Oftentimes fast traveling is completely free, which I find ridiculous. But for Minecraft, I can justify fast traveling in this game. Most games have worlds with finite sizes, but Minecraft worlds are constantly growing and expanding, which will always increase the time it takes to travel. Therefore, in this unique case, I feel fast traveling is almost necessary so you won't waste copious amounts of time traveling. On top of that, using a waystone will cost you experience levels, which I think is a good balance for using this feature. Waystones will generate these pillars randomly throughout the world that you can activate and use to travel between other waystone pillars. They will also generate in most villages too. Or you can craft your own Waystones using 3 stone bricks, 3 obsidian, and a warp stone, which is made from 4 ender pearls, 4 purple dye, and an emerald. Waystones make traveling in Minecraft far more efficient, but it is also balanced. Another mod that will add another feature found in RPG games is Callable Horses. Riding mounts is another traveling option found in a lot of open world games and is my personal preference over fast traveling. The weird quirk about riding mounts in those games is that you can whistle and your mount will magically appear at your side. Callable Horses does exactly that and makes riding horses in Minecraft more convenient. What you have to do is get on your chosen steed and press the default key P to make it your personal horse. You can always choose a new personal horse by repeating this process on another horse. Then all you have to do is press the default key V to whistle for your steed. If they are close enough, they will attempt to walk towards you, but if they are far away, they will teleport to you. Thus, you will always have a quick traveling option at your disposal. My personal trick with this mod is when I need to cross a river while on horseback. I get off my horse, swim across, then whistle for my horse so that it will teleport to the other side. I think this is a useful trick that helps getting horses across waterways much easier. Better Combat is a mod that improves your combat animations in Minecraft. The mod changes both your first-person and third-person attack animations to be visually more impactful. Swords, axes, and the trident will have new unique animations for each weapon type, and you can even dual-wield them. Hostile mobs won't have new animations, but fighting them will be more difficult because of a couple key changes in your ability to fight. When you attack, you are locked out of performing another attack until the animation is finished. On top of that, you are unable to raise your shield to block during your attack. Thus, if you miss, you are left open to being hit. Therefore, you have to make sure every strike counts in Better Combat. Now it's time to go explore your new fantasy world. The world generation mod I have chosen for this list is Biomes O Plenty. This mod needs no introduction as it currently sits at over 90 million downloads. While I did test a few different world generation mods for this video, I found Biomes O Plenty best fits this fantasy mods list for 2 reasons. The first reason I picked Biomes O Plenty is because while most of the biomes are realistic, there are a few fantasy biomes. For example, there is the Mystic Grove, a beautiful forest made up of blue-leaved magic trees and giant mushrooms. Or the Ominous Woods, populated by purple-leaved umbran trees and wither roses. Or you can go back in time by visiting Origin Valley, a biome based on the alpha version of Minecraft. Heck, even the realistic biomes appear magical as well. The Cherry Blossom Grove is filled with lovely pink and white cherry blossom trees. The vast lavender fields are completely smothered in bright purple. Even the most basic coniferous forests appear otherworldly with their towering fir trees. Biomes O Plenty is a tried and true mod that is always a good choice when you're trying to enhance your world generation. The second reason why I picked Biomes O Plenty is because of the next mod on this list. Alex's Mobs is a very impressive mod that adds a huge variety of animals to virtually every biome in Minecraft. Grizzly bears, elephants, crows, tigers, lobsters, blue jays, moose, sharks, capuchin, seals, rattlesnakes, bison, and more. This mod nearly has it all. On top of that, every single mob has unique behaviors and drops, therefore you will always have a new experience every time you encounter a new animal. Alex's Mobs is not limited to just real-life animals though. There are a few fantasy creatures that populate the overworld, nether, and end dimensions. These include froststalkers, flutters, skellywags, leviathan, soul vultures, endergrades, and cosmic cod. The mod is always being updated with new mobs. I also love how compatible Alex's Mobs is with Biomes O Plenty, which is the second reason why I picked the latter mod. Virtually every new biome is populated with the new mobs. I could find grizzly bears in the woodlands, bison roaming the lavender fields, gazelle grazing the scrublands, and even snow leopards sleeping in the Aurora Garden. Alex's Mobs and Biomes O Plenty are 2 truly amazing mods that will add lots of life, both real and fantasy, to your Minecraft world. While Alex's Mobs adds mostly real-world creatures to Minecraft, I have chosen Greek fantasy to introduce a wide range of fantasy creatures to the game. You may come across various neutral creatures such as Eri, centaurs, dryads, gigantes, and satyrs wandering the world or settled in camps. Many of them can be traded with. At night, you may encounter hostile creatures like gorgons and dracana. Other hostile creatures will spawn in certain locations, like the sirens who surround the shipwrecks that they likely caused, or the cyclops who lives in his home cave and guards his sheep. The toughest and most feared monsters in Greek fantasy are the bosses. Some of them you may encounter, such as the Nemean lion that resides in his den, or the Cretan minotaur that eats anyone who gets lost in his maze. Others you have to summon. Cerberus, the 3-headed hound of the underworld, is summoned by throwing an Orcz head into a 2x2 pool of lava surrounded by blackstone. Charybdis, a sea monster filled with teeth, is summoned by tossing a heart of the sea into a whirl in the ocean. She is sometimes accompanied by her fellow monster Scylla, an ocean nymph that has serpents for legs. Of course, this mod isn't just all monsters and no rewards. You can craft many powerful weapons such as Zeus's Thunderbolt that lets you strike down your enemies with lightning, Hades' Helm of Darkness that turns its wearer completely invisible, and Hermes' Winged Sandals that grants you incredible speed and jumping power. This is only a fraction of what Greek fantasy has to offer. In many fantasy games, there is often a group of plucky heroes searching for trouble and treasure. With the Human Companions mod, you can form your own party of heroes to fight alongside you. Throughout your world, you will occasionally find residences lived in by human NPCs. If you offer them the food they request, then they will follow you wherever you go and protect you. They'll be one of 4 professions: knights, archers, axe guards, or arbalists, and you can give them the appropriate weapons to use. They have various options in regards to following you around or guarding a specific area, and you can give them food so they can heal themselves. Human Companions is an amazing mod that allows you to recruit competent fighters for your adventures. Dungeons are a classic feature in fantasy games that provide a thrilling challenge for adventurers. Young's Better Dungeons takes the default dungeon structures in Minecraft and improves their designs. They become one of 3 new structures: the Catacombs, the Fortress of the Undead, and the Spider Caves, populated by zombies, skeletons, and spiders respectively. They all expand the default dungeon by adding multiple rooms and passageways filled with more mob spawners and chests full of loot. Additionally, many of these new dungeons will have a staircase that reaches the surface of the world, making them easier to locate. Be warned, these dungeons are not to be taken lightly, but they do reward the most daring adventurers. Advancement Plaques, Legendary Tooltip, and Item Borders are all made by the same developer that adds simple GUI changes to Minecraft. Advancement Plaques improves upon the visual and audio effects of the advancement pop-ups. While the mod won't give you any new rewards, you will certainly feel the accomplishment made when you see and hear these advancement plaques, no matter how small. Legendary Tooltip improves the tooltips when hovering over items in your inventory, making them better stand out and easier to read. Plus, all weapons and armor will have a 3-dimensional preview. And finally, Item Borders will highlight items in various colors depending on their rarity or difficulty to get. Altogether, these 3 mods will improve your GUI to give it a fantasy RPG aesthetic and make progressing in your fantasy world feel more rewarding. As you are exploring your fantasy world, you may be visited by the Goblin Trader. The Goblin Trader is a mob that functions similar to the Wandering Trader that spawns below ground. There is also the Vain Goblin Trader, who can be found in the Nether. These goblins are very cute. They remind me of children with oversized helmets and backpacks. They even have cute animations when you feed them apples. But anyway, Goblin Traders offer unique trades with very beneficial rewards. Some of these trades will even upgrade your diamond tools with high-level enchantments that you cannot get by vanilla means. You will have to prepare yourself with the right items for these trades, but if you're lucky enough to be visited by the Goblin Trader, you will not be disappointed. After adventuring in your fantasy world for a while, you may be ready to acquire better weapons and armor. I have chosen Night Quest to do just that. It is a mod that adds over 35 sets of fantasy-themed armor, as well as several weapons to aid you in your fantasy adventure. These sets of armor are upgraded versions of iron, diamond, and netherite armor. Most of them are cosmetic, but a few of them provide special bonuses. The Ocean set grants the user conduit power and haste 2 when underwater, while the Path set grants a speed boost when sprinting and sneaking. The weapons include new swords and axes along with a Kopesh, Kukuri, and Uchi Katana. To craft all of this armor, first you need a new block called the Chalice, which is made from combining a cauldron with a block of copper in the smithing table. After placing it down, you need to fill it with 3 Great Essence, which can be acquired a few different ways, but I would say the main method is by breaking mob spawners. Remember Young's Better Dungeons? Yeah, those are filled with lots of spawners, making a very good source of Great Essence. After filling the chalice completely, make a goblet from 3 copper ingots and interact with the chalice to fill the goblet. The filled goblet is the main ingredient used when upgrading diamond or netherite armor. Iron class armor does not need filled goblets, therefore you can craft them a lot earlier in your adventure. Otherwise, you combine the filled goblet with diamond or netherite armor and various vanilla resources to make a new set of armor. The filled goblet has 4 uses, enough to make 1 full set of armor. The weapons are also crafted using filled goblets. Night Quest is a pretty cool mod with lots of fantasy-inspired armors to choose from. The weapons are also compatible with better combat, giving you a wider selection of weapons to choose from. Browse through the selection of armor available, and you may find your perfect fantasy adventuring gear. If you are an adventurer who wants to delve into magical arts, I recommend Mahou Tsukai. Mahou Tsukai roughly means magician in Japanese, or more literally, a magic user. However, there are a few other possible translations. The point is, Mahou Tsukai is a very heavily anime-inspired magic mod, and you will see why in a moment. Mahou Tsukai is a relatively easy magic mod to start that has progression and a wide range of spells to pick from. There is an in-game book called the Mahou Tsukai Knowledge Compendium that will teach you everything you need to know about the mod, but I will go through the basics. First, you draw blood circles on the ground by spilling your blood and pressing the default key M. You can spill your blood however you see fit, but there's a dagger you can craft to assist you. This is starting to sound very weird. Please don't try any of this in the real world. Anyway, when you draw your first blood circle, you will see your mana in the top left corner. You start with 100 mana, and with every 100 mana you spend, you gain 1 extra maximum mana. Some spells require drawing blood circles on cloth crafted from wool and the dagger. Next, you add a combination of 3 catalysts to the blood circle, which are ground up powders of Minecraft objects using a mortar and pestle. There are 7 different catalyst powders made from iron, gold, diamonds, emeralds, quartz, ender pearls, and eyes of ender. Different combinations of catalysts create different spells. The compendium has the full list of spells and their catalyst recipes. If the blood circle is on the ground and is an appropriate spell, the spell will activate immediately. If it is on a cloth, you can pick up the completed scroll. You can craft a mystic code, an item that will hold 3 stacks of scrolls and allow you to cast spells. Now let's showcase some spells. Like I said, some of these look like they come straight from an anime magic series like Fate Zero. For example, there is the spell Ro Ias, which projects a giant shield. Or the spell to summon the Mystic Staff of Explosive Mana Condensation, which will cause storm clouds to gather and strike down a mighty explosion on your targeted location. Just be careful to not target the explosions too close to yourself. There are plenty of other spells that involve teleportation, summoning a familiar to assist you, or even creating a mystical lake to retrieve the powerful sword Caliburn. Another very fun spell is called Borrowed Authority, where you temporarily receive the power of the gods, massively increasing your strength, speed, and jumping abilities. This allows you to easily travel the world in record time. It reminds me of the powers of All Might and Deku from My Hero Academia. That only scratches the surface of Mahou Tsukai. I definitely recommend trying it out and seeing what you like. The flashy nature of Mahou Tsukai is what makes this magic mod extremely appealing. When dungeons arise, we'll take exploring dungeons and other adventure-filled structures to the next level. The mod adds a wide variety of fantasy-inspired structures to Minecraft that can be ridiculously humongous. Take Keep Kyra for example, that structure dwarfs the Woodland Mansion. Other structures include illager galleys and forts, abandoned and infested temples, bandit towers, airships, mushroom villages, and more. They are very impressive and beautiful structures that will make the horizons of your fantasy world look very unique. However, I would recommend holding off on exploring them until you get some pretty good gear. Inside you will find mobs equipped with enchanted weapons and armor that will make reaching the loot chests very challenging. Not to mention that the inside of these structures can be pitch black, making lighting up the interior to prevent mob spawns almost impossible. But the loot can be very rewarding, and exploring these massive structures will be a ton of fun. To add even more challenging opponents in your fantasy world, try Vanilla Expanded Orcz. This mod will add orc camps throughout your world. Orcs and goblins live in these camps and are equipped with various weapons or magical abilities. Goblins will even sometimes spawn riding these ugly red creatures called squigs. The complex AI of the mobs is what makes them very challenging. All of the orcs and goblins will surround an orc boss or leader, moving as one unit. Thus, if you enter one of these camps, you will have to fight a strategic squadron of orcs and goblins. On top of that, their AI involves bravery and morality levels, determined by the number of their allies still alive and their own health. If healthy and supported by lots of allies, orcs and goblins will continue the fight. If alone and injured, they will instead run away in fear. Even worse, when an orc or goblin dies, they will spawn spores that will plant fungi on the ground from which more orcs and goblins can spawn. You may find yourself fighting an endless army of orcs and goblins, so you have to be thorough in routing them out. But if you're brave and smart enough, you may just overcome these savage creatures and collect their unique loot to craft new armor and weapons. If you're looking for more friendly creatures to interact with, you can try these 4 mods made by the same developer. Goblins Community, Trolls Community, Ogres Community, and Kobolds Community are 4 smaller mods that will add randomly generated camps and villages for each of these mobs in Minecraft. They are all neutral mobs, meaning they are friendly unless you attack them first, and most of them have unique trading features. Goblins will spawn in their own little villages throughout Minecraft. They have different professions including archer, warrior, miner, and bomber. You can trade iron ingots with them for various different items, including goblin bombs. Trolls spawn in their tent camps around Minecraft. They are good fighters, which makes trading with them difficult. you have to hit them with a gold ingot, which they can steal and maybe give you something in return, or just not give you anything at all. Either way, you will still aggravate the trolls, so keep that in mind. Ogres are the only mob out of the 4 that cannot trade. They spawn in their caves and are not hostile. They are very powerful and are immune to arrows and tridents. If you manage to kill an ogre, they will drop their skin and bones, which you can add to your iron armor and tools respectively in the smithing table to upgrade them. A little grotesque, but very cool as well. And finally, kobolds are a reptilian species that live in underground bases. These bases have chimneys that come up from below ground which you can climb down to access them. You trade with kobolds using emeralds the old-fashioned way, opening a GUI that will offer you 3 different traits. I love the highly detailed designs of all 4 mobs. Overall, these 4 community mods will add a little more adventure and discovery in your fantasy world. Of course, I have to include a dragon mod to round out the fantasy world. I certainly got a lot of suggestions on my last mods list for Ice and Fire dragons. However, Ice and Fire is currently stuck in the 1.16.5 graveyard and has not been updated to the latest version. Therefore, I needed to choose another mod that adds dragons by using the already existing dragon egg. I am talking about Dragonmount's Legacy. It is a mod that takes the previously useless Ender Dragon egg that you get after defeating the Ender Dragon and allows you to hatch it to spawn a baby Ender Dragon. The hatching process takes 10 minutes to complete and the baby dragon will slowly grow into an adult dragon. You will need to tame the baby dragon by feeding it fish. Once tamed, the dragon will follow and fight for you. When it's mature enough, you can put a saddle on the dragon and you will be able to soar through the skies. The element of the dragon is not limited to just the Ender variant. You can change the element of the dragon by hatching the egg in different environments. When hatching the dragon egg while submerged in water, the Ender Dragon egg will change to a water dragon egg. Other examples include submerging a dragon egg in lava to change it into a fire dragon egg, placing the dragon egg on a 3x3 space of leaves will change it into a forest dragon egg, or placing the dragon egg on a 3x3 space of snow or ice will change it into an ice dragon egg. You can change the element of the dragon egg as many times as you can within the 10-minute hatching phase. When the eggs hatch, new elemental dragons will emerge from their respective eggs. Some dragons even have special bonuses, like how fire dragons don't take fire or lava damage, while ice dragons freeze water below them. To receive more dragon eggs, you have to defeat the Ender Dragon again. Then you can breed 2 dragons with fish and they will lay a dragon egg, which again, you can change the element of. Dragonmount's Legacy is the perfect endgame mod that rewards you for defeating the final boss of Minecraft. And that is all for this video. I hope this list of fantasy mods will give y'all something new to try in your modded Minecraft worlds, or try them all together to create the perfect fantasy world. However, if you're interested in something more realistic, my next video will be a list of mods that will transform Minecraft into a realistic medieval game. Please subscribe so you can stay tuned for that video. Also leave a like and comment down below. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, farewell.